Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Starfish Corner and my name is Laura. As I said in my last video, this is going to be a video dedicated primarily to Halloween or to those who practice Samhain. And it's basically for some the new year. It marks the end when all of the harvests are done and the earth is going to sleep, only to wake up again at December solstice when the days start getting longer. Now the days are getting shorter and shorter, so the earth is things. So it's like our new year where we get rid of the old and new. And what I wanted to do was just give you some things that you can do on Halloween with other people or by yourself. That's perfectly fine. Thank you to the new subscribers. I'm really excited. Thank you so much. I mean it honestly from the bottom of my heart. It's very humbling to know that what you're doing is actually having an impact. And I would ask that you continue to like and subscribe, ring the bell, and share the video. Now, the very first thing I want to let you know is that before you do any kind of divination, even if it's not Halloween or Samhain, and that's actually when the veils between the worlds of those who have passed and the mortal world is the thinnest. So at this time, divination, if you're new to it, should be a little bit easier, you know, because you have that energy behind you, that the wall is so thin that the universe and the divine can easily reach through and give the answers. But first and foremost, as always, before you do anything, ask your higher power, the divine, the universe, whatever higher power you choose to look to please surround you with light and love. Ask that only light and love be present in your future, in this space. You want to be covered with light and love, and only good may enter here before you do any of this. That's just a safeguard. You know, the world is dark and light. It's made up of dark and light, and you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself with light. You can ask the angels to light. You can ask the fairies of light and love to come and protect you. So now that that's said, some ideas that you can do for Halloween, and I do have a list. I do have a couple of props. What you can do is get a small pumpkin and cut it open, scoop out the seeds and the pulp, and then place them all neatly back into the pumpkin and leave it outside for the animals as an offering, because they're going to be hungry, you know, over the long winters. So you're hoping that they have sustenance. In addition, it's just a nice way to honor the spirits of the land and even the flower fairies, or it's just a nice way to honor all of the living creatures. Because primarily Samhain is the time of remembrance, of feasting. It's remembering those we've lost, you know, going over maybe old pictures. It's just honoring the people who we've lost and have crossed over. And what you can do is, it's like I said, it's a great time for divination. And if you're experienced or just beginner, this is the time where it will come a little easier for you. You can use your pendulums. I know you've seen them. It's basically just a point suspended on a chain. It can be a crystal. It can be a piece of pointed jewelry, and basically you decide which direction is yes or no, and then you steady yourself. Usually I try to keep my elbow on the table, hold it, and put it down, and I usually do yes is up and down and no is side to side, and I will see where the energy of the crystal takes me. Now on the internet you can download, if you Google free pendulum boards or free pendulum, and you can download it and print it out, and then you could either put it on a piece of wood, or you can get a really stiff piece of backing from the fabric store. You can do anything you need to do. So you can download a pendulum wheel, which sometimes is like yes, no, maybe, later, soon. So it can refine what you're asking the pendulum, and it's usually yes or no answers. There's also a yes or no coin. Now, I don't know how well this is going to show, but I'm going to try to do my very, very best. This is yes, and if I turn it around, this is no. And this, I believe I got when I went to Salem in one of the stores. And basically, you can use this, or you can even use a regular coin. Usually heads is yes and tails is no. And what you do is you take the coin and spin it on your sides like we used to do as kids to make the coin spin round and round, and ask your question. And generally see which way it falls. Again, it's yes or no questions. You can't really get into a lot. And what you can also do is, if you're of the outdoorsy type, you can walk outdoors and pick up a leaf that has fallen, that the trees have let go. Or if you're really athletically inclined, you could try to catch a leaf that is falling. And all you have to do is take the leaf and you basically just start tearing it apart, like in pieces, and with your hands, tearing it apart, and until you feel that it's not, and then lay the pieces out, sprinkle them on a plate or a cloth or even a table, and then just stare intently and look and see what shapes you can find. And then you can Google meaning of swan shape, or the meaning of bats, or if it looks like a pumpkin, or whatever you think the leaves are. And maybe you can get some insight that way. It's a good time to ask for things which no longer serve you to be taken away, and things that you would love to come into your life to do that. And during the winter, like I said, some people, this is a New Year, so the winter is sleeping, so you want that to be taken away, and then the things you want will bloom in spring, and they'll bloom with what you would love. And it's, and like I said, this is a time to honor those who have passed. So what you can do is prepare a small weight of food with apples, fruits, and berries. You can place it outdoors. Now, if you have one of those tall glass candles, that is safe. You can light it outside. You could even use an LED candle if that's more beneficial, or you can put it outside your balcony. You can put it by a window. But basically, you're just placing a plate of food, drink, and light for any of the ancestors or the spirits that are traveling upon the land. It's like an offering to the higher ups, if you will. And that's where the costumes kind of came in, the idea of costumes, because what it would do is, if you're dressing up as Halloween, as it would allow the ancestors and the spirits to actually walk among the people without causing fear or consternation or anything. They could just walk among the people because everybody's dressed up. And what you can do, you can take that plate the next day and leave it outside for the critters. Or you can also, if you're making a meal that night or your dinner, set a place with food and beverage for the loved ones you've lost and your ancestors in honor of them. And then once again, take the plate outside when it's done, as long as it's safe. You don't want to attract unwanted wildlife. But even if you have to put it in the garbage or the disposal, just know that you're offering it to those, who might need it. If your intention is there and your heart is there, the universe knows and will not be upset if you don't want to attract raccoons. I told you about the coin. You have some fortune-telling dice. I found this set actually at Half Price Books. This is what the booklet looks like, and it has all the symbols. There's symbols. It's like Dungeons and Dragons dice, and the book here, it's like rods, cups, swords, and pentacles. So you look for the symbolism. It corresponds with astrology and tarot, and I'm going to try to get a close-up of the dice, but I don't think it's going to work. I'm not really good at this yet. See, but they're like sided dice, and they have all kinds of symbols on them, and then you look at what you've rolled depending on how many dice you throw, and then you look up the symbolism, and it should be able to give you a good idea of whatever you asked or where you're going. I honestly have not worked with them a lot. I am planning to do a bunch on Halloween. Since I'm unfamiliar with them, I want to make sure that I do it correctly and get the most out of the time where it will be the easiest. What you can do is light a candle and gaze into a mirror and just kind of let your eyes unfocus and see things that you see. It is possible to see your ancestors who've passed. It is honest to see that maybe your facial features change, and that could just be honestly one of your guides coming through. But like I said, remember to always do this with the spirit of light and love protecting you. I have made what would be referred to as a magic mirror. Now, I created this one, and I usually only honestly bring it out around this time unless it's emergency. But I've sealed it so it's protected. Nothing will come through the screen. But basically you use a picture frame, and it's a process, and it's just that you see it's black, and you can gaze into it. If people are curious, you can always ask a question, and I'll explain how they're made. It's really nice when you make it yourself because you can put your energy and intentions in it. You can hide herbs and just whatever you'd like to do to make it your mirror. But as always, I ask for light and love to protect me, and nothing evil or dark may come through. You can fill a bowl with water. Take a spoon, not a big, like a cereal bowl or some kind of bowl. You don't need a lot of water, but just take a spoon and spin it around clockwise and get it to a good swirl. At the meantime, light a candle, and as it's swirling, let the candle drip into the water until you feel it's okay. It could be for the count of 5. And then what you do is you stop stirring, take the piece of wax that you've poured, and see what feelings you get or what kind of shape you might see. And then once again, you could Google that shape and see what the meaning is behind it. I've got that, gazing into a crystal ball. I do have that, but I did not. It's sitting on my shelves right now, and I would hate to break it. I did get it for Salem, so it's very special, and we know basically what a crystal ball is looking like, so you can do that. It's a great time to leave offerings to all the magical creatures you want in your life: fairies, unicorns, dragons, all of the magical beings. Apple and nuts are good, and perhaps something sweet as well, especially for the fairies. I make my own vanilla extract, and I usually leave a small cup of that in addition to the other items, and I just thank them for being in my life and ask that they continue to enrich my path here on earth at this time. If weather permits, spend some time outside, just being and listening to nature. Just sit outside. Now, ironically enough, I'm dressed like this. It is 80 degrees here in Kansas today. But last Tuesday, we had frost. We had 2 days of where the temperature dropped to 27 degrees, and it didn't get hotter than that. Yeah, so we had frost, so everything kind of croaked outside, but now it's 80 degrees, so I have the air conditioner on. I guess that's the Midwest. That's what they tell me. I think it's a little more in detail on that, but so it looks, if weather permits, just sit outside and listen to what you can hear, look around, maybe drive to a park, spend some being outside. And among all of the traditions of Halloween, apples appear the most often. Now, there are loose theories for why apples are so special on this day. In Wicca, they're associated if you cut the apple in half opposite the stem, so you cut the fat part, not the stem part, you cut it that way, and you open up and the seeds form a pentacle or a star, a pentagram protection star. I apologize for that. They've long been thought to have uncanny magic. In Welsh folklore and some Celtic, This study of October 31st traditions by Ruth Edna writes that apples came to Halloween through the colonizing Romans, who linked their fall apple festival with the Celtic Samhain, so they were connected. There are ways to coax an apple into telling the future on Halloween. You could peel it in one strip, try to see how far that goes, and when it breaks, or if you peel the whole apple, throw the apple peel over your left shoulder, and it should form the initial of a future mate or lover, since back then women were encouraged to marry, so a lot of this has to do with finding your partner. Or you can take an apple in the mirror, you shine a candle in the mirror and eat the apple, and you will see your future husband over your shoulder. In one version of the tradition, the apple gets cut into 9 pieces, and you sit in the mirror and eat 8 of them. And when you get to the 9th piece, supposedly your mate will appear in the mirror and ask for the 9th piece. Some of this has its ways, but I hope that my information helped a little bit. I wish everyone a great month, a great week. I'll be posting again with my normal videos. Any questions, please comment or send me an email at Starfishmsw, which I will put in the comments down below. Once again, I appreciate so very, very much the new subscribers and for liking and sharing this video. I wished you the brightest of blessings for a wonderful week. Thank you so much.